All right, well, we're going to go ahead and get started. And as mentioned, today's session is going to be recorded. I'm Victor Hernandez, the Beginning Farmer Rancher Coordinator for California with the Natural Resource Conservation Service. I'm also serving as the Outreach Coordinator for the Natural Resource Conservation Service. And today we're meeting with California Department of Food and Agriculture, Michael Ackley Grady with the Farm to School program. Michael, how are you doing today?
Doing well. Thank you for having me in this space, and thank you all for joining us today. As Victor said, my name is Michael Ackley Grady, and I'm with the California Department of Food and Agriculture, and I work in the Office of Farm to Fork. I'm the Farm to School Marketplace Lead, and what that means is I work for the Farm to School program, connecting with farmers and ranchers throughout the state of California to help connect them to the school system. I think we still have a few more folks popping in, so I'll keep admitting them as they arrive. If folks wouldn't mind, if they would could introduce themselves in the chat and just kind of write your name and where you're from. Be also great to know if you guys are already farming, if you're a producer, or what space you're coming from.
Thank you, Michael. And as we get started, we're going to briefly give you an overview of the California Beginning Farmer Rancher Initiative. So what is the Beginning Farmer Rancher Initiative? This is a nationwide initiative with a Beginning Farmer Rancher coordinator in every state in the country. Every state in the country also has a team of the 4 forward-facing agencies that support farmers and ranchers, with the Farm Service Agency providing direct loans and catastrophe level crop insurance programs. That Farm Service Agency would also be your first step with registering your farm and obtaining a farm number. Also with the Risk Management Agency, who works with commercial crop insurance agents to ensure that you, the farmer, is protected. The Rural Development, with one of their programs being the Value Added Producer Grant, a grant that's available for farmers and ranchers who are going to do a value added to their existing crops. So for example, you're planting tomatoes, you're now going to can tomatoes. So that processing equipment could fit into the grant for the value added producer grant. And also with the Natural Resource Conservation Service, providing the environmental quality incentive programs, federally incentivizing your adoption of resource conservation, whether it's with your soil health, your water quality, or your air quality.
Hey, Victor.
Yes, sir.
I have to interrupt you. Can you say that what you said before about the value added producer and equipment, and from tomatoes to canning tomatoes?
Yes, absolutely. So the value added producer grant is a grant that's provided by Rural Development. For this grant, it's anytime you're going to take a commodity and you're going to transition it into something else. So for the example that I shared was you're taking tomatoes and now you're going to can the tomatoes. So the anything like involved in the equipment and the transformation of the tomatoes to canned tomatoes would be something that you could then include into the write-up for that grant proposal.
Right on. Very good. Thank you.
Yes. So with that said, who is a beginning farmer rancher? A beginning farmer rancher is anyone who has 0 to 10 years farming experience. The beginning farmer rancher team here in California is made of Kaylee Grimland with Farm Service Agency, Catherine Anderson with the Risk Management Agency, and Jamie Corfield representing the Natural Resource Conservation Service. Again, I'm Victor Hernandez, and I'm your coordinator for the state of California. If you should have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. My email is victor.hernandez@usda.gov. What are we doing here in California for beginning farmers and ranchers? We currently have a Beginning Farmer Rancher series. This is a community building platform. It's an idea sharing platform, and we air every fourth Wednesday of the month from 10 to 11 Pacific Standard Time. So every fourth Wednesday of the month from 10 to 11, we're bringing to you a new partner that supports farmers and ranchers in your community statewide, from business resources to agricultural resources to educational resources. Tomorrow is our fourth Wednesday for June 22nd. Our guest is going to be Amy Wu. She's the director and producer of From Farms to Incubators, Women in Agri-Food Tech. It's going to be an amazing conversation. I invite you to join there. Those conversations take place on MS Microsoft Teams, and all farmers and ranchers, partners, you're invited to attend. It's an open platform. Again, it's a community building platform. It's an idea sharing platform. What else are we doing? We're going to launch officially going into July every Monday from 10 to 11. This is going to be our beginning farmer rancher time. So what will happen there? You're going to have the beginning farmer rancher team for California and special guests. Well, we're going to invite different resource partners to come on and support us. But we're going to be available for you, beginning farmers and ranchers, or new and aspiring farmers and ranchers, to answer all your questions, whether it's on farm loans or the catastrophe crop insurance programs, crop insurance with risk management agency, the environmental quality incentive program, conservation programs, how to develop a conservation plan. All these types of questions, we're going to be here to support you. But that's going to be that's your space as a farmer and rancher, as a partner, to come on and share resources with our participants. We currently have over 500 beginning farmers and ranchers registered with the Beginning Farmer Rancher Initiative in California, which is just amazing. No other state in the country has had this amount of participation, but as you can see, the community is building. But here's the Monday program is going to be really an opportunity for us to just have a conversation. What are you doing? And as we go through one conversation with one farmer, all the farmers on the call are going to benefit from that feedback. And so we're just trying to create one space where we can answer questions. Again, that's going to be starting in July on Mondays from 10 to 11. Every Monday from 10 to 11, join us, and it's going to be an open platform we're going to be on. It's going to be the same channel. Once that invitation goes out, if you lose the invitation, just go back to the same channel. You're gonna find us there. So with that, we're gonna go back to California Department of Food and Ag with Michael Ackley Grady, and Michael's gonna talk to us more about the Farm to Fork, Farm to School initiative, and working with direct marketing to school districts. Michael.
Thank you very much, Victor. And yeah, thank you guys all for having me here again. As I stated earlier, just for the folks that are new to the call, my name's Michael, and I'm with the California Department of Food and Agriculture's Office of Farm to Fork, and I work for the Farm to School program. This year, we're currently in our application period for the Farm to School grant. Last year, we ran the grant as a kind of a pilot grant program, and we had $8.5 million that we allocated out to 60 grantees throughout the state of California. This year, we actually have $30 million for this grant program and 4 funding tracks that I'll be talking about today during this call. And if at any point in time too, you guys have questions, I'm going to put in the link to our grant webpage as well as our email address. Feel free to reach out at any point in time, and happy to hop on a call with folks to talk through these things as well. But like I said, the grant application period is currently open, and it closes July 6th, so coming up pretty soon. So kind of the culture of our team is just for support and collaboration, working with folks throughout the state, other organizations, to best help support those in the farm to school space or those wanting to access the farm to school space. So we're always working on how we can simplify things, how we can help you, how we can celebrate and validate the work you are doing, how we can create lasting impact in your communities. And then some of our guiding practices are support and technical assistance. We also host office hours or peer-to-peer learning, where we're hopping on monthly Zoom calls with our grantees, as well as the folks within our network to help connect them to our grantees, and then cross-pollinating across programs throughout the state. So really working with those industry partners to help better support you folks in the work you are doing. So the purpose and the priorities of the Farm to School Incubator Grant Program, it's a competitive grant to support projects that cultivate the equity, nurture students, build climate resilience, and create scalable and sustainable change. And the funding priorities for this grant program are to engage students, especially from underserved communities, serve schools located among priority populations that are especially vulnerable to the impacts of climate change, include and support small to mid-sized California farmers and producers, and include veteran food producers, socially disadvantaged California food producers, and or limited resource farm households in California. And also include California food producers who utilize climate smart agriculture practices, climate smart agriculture production systems like certified organic and transitioning to certified organic, or other regenerative strategies that increase the resilience to climate change, improve the health of communities and soil, and protect water and air quality, increase biodiversity, and help store carbon in the soil. Like I said briefly earlier, within this grant program this year, there's 4 funding tracks. So last year during the pilot round, we actually only had tracks 1 and tracks 2. So new this year are the 3rd and 4th track. We really did see that there was a need for a space to supply support to children under 5 in the farm to school space. And so that's why we created the track 3, and then also track 4 to help producers scale up and sell to the school systems. So track 4 is going to be the Farm to School Producer Grant, and that's for farmers and producers in the state of California that have a working relationship with schools to apply for funds to help scale up that operation. So I'm going to talk a little bit briefly more about track 4. If you do have questions regarding tracks 1, 2, or 3, that's the K through 12 is the track 1. Track 2 is the regional partnerships, and track 3 is early childhood care track. Feel free to reach out to us. We also do have weekly webinars. So our next webinar is this Thursday at noon. If you'd like to have more info on those tracks as well, because there may be space in which you guys want to collaborate or work within those tracks as well. But track 4 is the Farm to School Producer Grant. And so within track 4, it's going to fund California food producers to increase production, processing, and or distribution of whole or minimally processed foods for the school food market. Track 4 will also fund California food producers to provide hands-on educational opportunities for youth that complement their food sales or donations to schools. To be eligible, a producer must show evidence of an established relationship with at least one school nutrition service department. So to be able to be eligible for this track, there is a on our website a drafted letter of support that the school can use, or a template, just to provide evidence that they do know who you are as a farmer or producer, and that you're a real person. And that's just the one thing that is needed for you to be eligible to apply for the funds within track 4. And the award amounts in this grant are anywhere from $5,000 to $150,000. And basically, when you're applying, you just tell us there's a budget template, but how much money you guys need. So there's no funding formula, there's no matching funds. It's just you showing us what you guys need in support to scale up your operation to be able to better access the school food market.
So Michael, before you go on, where can the participants find that letter of support?
Yeah, if you guys go to the grant webpage, there will be, and I will share my screen so you guys can see this too. I'll share this part of my screen. Are you able to see the grant page?
Yes, got it.
Okay. So if you come to our grant webpage, and that link is in the chat, the online portal application, so to actually apply for the grant, is going to be under this tab right here, and you'll just select the track you want to apply for. And then under worksheets and templates, letter of intent right here, this template, that would be the letter of support that the schools would utilize to write that. So if you just click on that link, it'll take you to that letter, and you can either email it to the school nutrition service director or print it out for them, and just have them fill it out and sign it off. And that's what you would utilize for that track 4 application.
Could you just read out for us what that highlighted part is? There application worksheets, and it's a little bit difficult to see on our screen here.
Oh yeah, so the title of the tab that you'd find it under is application worksheets and templates. So under that, you'll also find the budget template, and then I think, yeah, the only other one that in track 4 that you would need is that letter of intent template. Also, when doing your grant application, there's videos as well, or a tutorial that will kind of go through step by step the application process if you'd like to use that while doing so. And then, like I said, we also have weekly webinars under this webinars tab. And that's where you can find the registration for the next 2 webinars. Our next one is June 23rd. That's this Thursday at noon. And then the last one will be June 29th at 9 a.m. And so you can register right there through those links. You could also watch any of the previous recordings. The very first one on May 12th is going to be the most detailed recording. And then after they go through all the slide deck, it is open for live Q&A for the grant as well for the remainder of the hour. And so I'd say right now it's been about 15 to 20 minutes of slides, and then 40 plus minutes of Q&A. You can also review all the slides on your own time as well right here with that link as well. And some of them will look really familiar because I'm stole a few of the slides from that presentation for today's presentation. So some of those will look a little familiar. And then, like I said, if you guys have any other questions too, feel free to reach out to us. Our office doesn't just supply support to those folks that are grantees or in our grant space. If you have questions or want to know more about the farm to school space, we happily work with anyone who has interest and may need support for the work they're doing. So you do not have to be a grantee for us to provide support to you.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, you may.
Yeah, my name is Asobo George. We just began a new farm, and I've been following you, but I've not had the opportunity to attend a program like this one. And if I have a question to ask is, do you sometimes visit the farms to see what we do?
Yeah, so we our team goes on tours. I've traveled the most of the state, and I'm happy to schedule a time to come out to the farm. If you guys would have us and stuff, we'd love to actually physically see what you guys are doing. And then as well as the first partner of the state and the Secretary of Agriculture for the state of California have also gone on some of these tours with us as well to see the farms.
Yeah, my second question is, do you have an advice to give to us on wheat? Because one of the things that we have experienced on our farm, this is the second year we are trying that farm, and one of the things we have been fighting with is wheat, to deal with the wheat, because the wheat has killed. Last year we lose a lot of our crops because the wheat was above us. We could not really, I'm just with my wife, and that's what we are trying to switch to be able to use as a profession. And that wheat really put us back. And this year that we just started, it has started the same thing. And so we don't know, but when we go around, we see other farms, they are very clean, and the crops are just growing. And without a lot of wheat, and that makes the yield looks good. So I don't know if there is an advice you can give us on how to deal with wheat. Then secondly, we need help on the farm. That is to say, we actually need some people who can be of help to us. And we don't know the quarters where we can go to get people to work with us on the farm so that it will reduce a lot of stress. We have, I think, about 3 acres of land that we are trying to work on. And so if there is any advice, please help us.
Yeah, which location or like what area in the state are you farming?
We are farming in Merced, between Merced and Atwater.
Okay, yeah, I'd be happy to schedule a call with you and maybe we can figure out some folks that are in your area that we can help you partner with or can actually, yeah, come to your farm and help you and provide assistance. So I'd be happy to schedule a time to have a call personally with you to see where we can help support you with those.
So can you write down our number?
Yeah.
408 449 1850 and 408 469 6718. The first number you can reach on the farm is the 408 449 1850, and the second number is secondary.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. And I'll provide at the end of this as well my email and phone number in the chat as well for any of you folks that may need additional support.
Okay, thank you so much. I'm so blessed.
So also, if you could type in your email address into the chat box, there's several service providers here today. I do see our equity officers on. Kaylee Grimlin, Farm Loan Officer with the Beginning Farm Rancher Initiative is on. I see a Small Business Administration person on. So there may be other resources and a way for us to connect with you to give you more info. Certainly, there is a Natural Resource Conservation Service office there locally that can support you also with developing your conservation plan and looking to streamline your natural resources. So if you could type in your email address, I would love to get more information to you. And I also see Issa Marie from Farmer Veteran Coalition is on. So there's other service providers here that will be able to reach out to you as well. Michael, before you go on, there's a couple of questions here in the chat. Justin Morgan asked, is there a specific metric for what is considered a small to mid-sized producer?
Yeah, in our request for application for the grant, you will find all the definitions for each of these things. We did create our own definition for California for small to mid-size, just because I feel like the USDA one's covering the whole country, and there may be some things that are a little bit more specific just to California. So we did kind of narrow things down a little bit based off size and income of the farms. So that will be provided in there. I don't have it off the top of my head, but after this call, I could always look that up and email it to you as well.
Perfect. Michael, also, Anita Cuellar asks, are urban farms eligible?
Yes, urban farms are eligible. And then I'll also be talking a little bit about some upcoming funding through our office as well for urban agriculture specifically as well.
Is it okay if I ask a question? Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just wanted, my situation is a little unique and I wanted to find out if there would be support available. But I'm an agribusiness woman, so I'm part of a national organization called the National Women in Agriculture Association, and I run our California chapter. I'm based here in Los Angeles. So I'm also a humanitarian, and I do food recovery and distribution for our disenfranchised communities here in LA. So I'm feeding people every week from food that I recover from farms, from grocery stores like Whole Foods and Trader Joe's. And so I've been getting an influx of calls from schools lately, from their health navigators, asking if my organization can come bring food to their schools. So there was like 2 or 3 schools that I was serving, and then I got a call from another school, and then they asked, do I have an agreement with LAUSD, like a MOU? And I said, no, the schools called me, and we distribute in partnership with them. So they sent me paperwork because this particular school is very interested in receiving the food, and so they want to get my organization into the system. As an agribusiness woman, I would like to educate the children about agriculture, especially urban agriculture and so forth. And I wanted to know, would this grant be appropriate for education? And I also do work with farmers, so I would like to also have that, where we can offer the produce to the student, to the school.
Yeah, Nina, thank you. I think there definitely is space for it. I think whether the school applies for the funds directly in track 1 and then utilizes you in your business, and then they they pay you with their grant funds, or if you were to apply with them in the track 2 space as a regional partnership, I think there could be a lot of ways to collaborate in that as well. And if you'd like to talk about that more in depth off of this call too, I'd be happy to schedule a call with you to talk through that a little bit further. But I definitely think there could be space for that.
Awesome. Thanks. I would love to talk to you, because in doing this work, I've realized that it's more important to teach people how to produce their own food, So yeah. I'd like to teach kids. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
And one other question here, Michael, do you know of any precedent of private producers selling for profit using school district land for production? So are there, what I'm understanding here is, are there schools who lease their land for production?
I believe so. I think a lot of them, there's a lot happening right now with like the wheat commission with some of these school farms, as well as I think there's some nonprofits that have agreements with the schools to utilize their farm for production as well. I do know the intent for a lot of those farms is the produce is going back into the school meals or utilized in the students' education. And then maybe the food's going into the local like food banks or the food system, supply system that way as well. But I do know, yeah, there are some districts with more farmland and utilizing their local producers to help with that. Hopefully that's helpful.
Hey, real quick, this is Matthew. I asked that question, and I asked it because we're in that situation. So I've developed a farm in West Contra Costa County at a school, and we're looking to build out micro enterprises utilizing students and education as really the focus. But what I was wondering really is there a precedent for the private sale and the profit off of that produce for personal or private businesses?
It's probably going to be up to the school district. So if you are in that situation where you're close to a school and they have a vacant lot, and you probably want to talk with the school administration to see if they're able to lease that land to you, and then in that agreement, that should be spelled out in your contract. However, I'm not aware of it. Michael, are you aware of those guidelines?
Yeah, I think it's like a lot of times if the school owns the land, I think a lot of times the profit's coming back to the school, unless there is some type of agreement, whether it's an MOU or a lease agreement or what have you, of someone utilizing their land for their own personal production as well. But I think it would be kind of a situational thing.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, and then Matthew too, if you do have more questions regarding that too, or wanted to hop on a call, I'd be happy to schedule a time with you as well to dive into that a little bit deeper.
Okay, cool. I put my email in the chat if you want to just get my info or if there's another way to get in touch with you.
Yep, perfect.
Thanks.
Thank you.
So those are the questions up to now. Michael, I think we can continue with track 4.
Awesome. So as you can see on the screen now, this is what the scorecard looks like. So when you're going through your application, this is the piece that you'll want to make sure you're touching on throughout your application. There's certain parts that don't have points acquired to it, but are required, and that's just making sure you meet all the eligibility requirements, a project title and summary on just what your plans are for your project, how much you're requesting, as well as your background of your farm and your business. But then, yeah, the parts that do have points are your relationship with the school nutrition department. So that's going to be the you're going to get points based on that letter of intent or support that you get from that school. Just basically them stating that you are a real person, a producer, and they know who you are. As well as a description of your food production history and your farm to school vision. And then the next two pieces are going to be the part where you have the most points acquire from, and that's going to be your project description and what you're actually planning to do within your project, as well as points for if it's a healthy, equitable, resilient food system. So that's kind of some of those things we talked about before, but as you can see, they're detailed over here to the on the right side of the page as well. And that's going to be engaging students from underserved communities, serving schools located among priority populations, small to mid-sized California producers, veteran producers, socially disadvantaged producers, and or limited resourced farm households within California, and California producers who utilize climate smart agriculture practices. And so if you need or are unaware if you fall into any of those categories or need help to see if you do, feel free to also reach out to us while going through it, and we'll be happy to connect you to those resources. There should also be links located within the application to help you find the answers to those questions as well. And I think especially with the utilizing climate smart practices, I've gotten a lot of questions about that because I do think there's producers out there that are utilizing these practices, but maybe don't know that the practices they're utilizing qualify for that. Also, an allowable cost within this grant is going to be certifications as well. So if you are wanting to, or if you're already producing organically grown food but aren't certified, you can use grant funds to become certified. So happy to talk through that as well with any folks as they're going through their application as well.
So I just want to highlight really quickly for the producers, and Michael, and if you can go back to that previous screen. Oftentimes, so this is a grant, right? And no one's really going to tell you this, but take careful consideration to where the points are allocated. This lets you know that Michael's team uses a rubric to score your application, right? And there's certain points. So a lot of times more doesn't necessarily mean more, right? And Michael, maybe you can give us more clarity, but in my experience with being a grant reviewer is just being very specific and to the point, and seeing where the maximum amount of points are allocated for your application to make it to the top. And essentially the highest scoring applicants are the ones that are going to get awarded. So just take a close consideration to where those points are allocated. And again, more doesn't necessarily mean more. There's a lot of times I've seen applicants that the application is a little bit slimmer, but they're direct, they're to the point, and they address every point that the application is asking, and then they tend to score higher. I just want to bring that. Michael, any insight that you can give to the participants, as they fill out the proposal to help them get to the top?
Yeah, I think kind of just how you said, really making sure that you look through these parts as you're filling it out. Like I said, there's also resources on our webpage that help you go through that. There's also kind of a breakdown of the scorecard linked to our webpage as well that you can pull open and just kind of verify that you've covered those points in your application. We are not able to look at your application in advance and tell you what you need to fix or anything along those lines. But we do try to provide you as much information to where you can kind of like if you're taking a test for school with an open book. So you pretty much have the book in front of you as you're going through it. So really being able to utilize that as you're going through it. Also, if you don't apply, you can't be awarded. So my like biggest advice is apply. Yeah, if you have questions or anything like that along the way, feel free to reach out to me and my team, and we're happy to provide assistance where we can.
Okay. Can somebody look for somebody who is a professional grant writer to do that for them?
If they want to, but we're really trying to streamline the process, and it's unlike most grants. We feel like this is one that you shouldn't need a grant writer for. But if you feel more comfortable in that space, you're welcome to utilize a grant writer. But if you look through it and stuff, we're really trying to provide an opportunity for folks to not need, it's not going to be what application's written the best. It's going to be based off these points. Yeah.
Okay.
I have a question.
Yes,
Yeah.
Susanna.
Yeah, so my question would be, it's really interesting about the grant provided, right? But I had a question in regards of, can this also apply to maybe a childcare home, or is this just like for schools in general?
So track 3 of our grant is for early childhood education. And so within that, that's for, childhood care centers serving children 5 and under.
Okay, thank you so much.
Yeah.
I just wanted to highlight for Mr. Asobo George, and just kind of reemphasize this for the participants. You don't necessarily need to have a professional grant writer for these applications, but some of the key things that do make applicants stand out is those partnerships, right? So who are you working with in the community to build up your program? And as Michael stated earlier, one of the requirements is you must have already an existing agreement with the school district, right? So pick up that letter of support and make that, start building that relationship with the school districts in your area. And those, now you can interweave those partnerships into your application, and that's going to make you stand out as well.
What about if this is Asobo George speaking? Because one of the things we do is we serve the community in another form. We serve every week we serve the homeless. We give them food. We cook from our home. We do everything for them. And what about that nature of work?
Yeah, there's I think other programs that may help support that. And if you're in an urban setting, there will be room for our urban ag grant program, as well as we have some other programs through our office that I can happily connect you to. That wouldn't, I don't think, be a space for the farm to school program, but there is other spaces where I think that could fit in.
Okay.
And then I will say too, if you're not at a place too for this year to apply by July 6th, we do have it already in the budget for next year to run this grant program again. And it'll probably be a similar timeline to this. And that currently is at proposed 30 million locked in already for the grant program for the next year, with it proposed to actually double and be 60 million for the 2023 year. So if you're not able to apply this year, don't worry, there will be other opportunities. Also, if you do apply this year, it does not exclude you from applying next year. You can't use the same project, but it would be to scale up on the work you're already doing. So you are able to apply year after year if your able to, and your projects don't, you're not necessarily like paying for the same stuff, if that makes sense. So as like I said, for a timeline, we're now at the state, the application period currently. I mean, like I said, the application period closes July 6th at 5 p.m. Pacific time. And then we will review the applications from July till August. And we're hoping to notify the grantees in September of their award. And then working from September to December on the grant agreements. And it's estimated that these projects will start December 1st of this year. And it is a 2-year grant cycle. So projects must end by November of 24. If you're gonna spend all these funds before then, it doesn't mean you have to drag it out till that point. You can end earlier. The projects must end and the money must be spent by November 30th of 2024. That's also a good point to think about if you're planning to apply again next year too. That most likely will be another 2-year period, so it'll help you to expand those funds from next year through the 2 years from 2023, so through 2025. Oops. So how can we assist you during the application period is a little bit different than the rest of the year. We are always willing to schedule calls with you and help you and connect you to agencies that may provide support. If there's any way in which we can support as well, we're happy to answer any questions or provide information to you via for the grant via email or grant webinars. We can also introduce you to other producers, to schools, to support organizations. And that's stuff we do not just during the grant application period, but all year long. We can also provide technical support for the online application portal. And if you need any help or assistance while navigating that, feel free to reach out. The things we're not able to do during this application period is we cannot provide specific feedback on your grant project ideas, and we can't assist you with actually writing the grant. So that is just some things to remember. If you need help or assistance with those things though, we are able to help connect you to folks that may be able to provide some assistance. We just, our team cannot actually help you with writing that application out because it would provide unfair advantage to you over the other applicants. And then I did want to touch on some other funding opportunities that are coming up besides just the Farm to School grant. And that is through our office, through this, at the CDFA. There's funding coming out for Community Food Hubs program. And that's going to be a 2-year grant plan as well. So hopefully this fall, there will be a planning grant coming out for food hubs throughout the state of California. And then next year in 2023, there will be grants going out to actually implement those food hubs throughout the state. Then also, like we talked about briefly earlier, there is money for urban agriculture. We're actually hiring for additional staff through our office right now for that program, but hopefully by this fall, we'll have an urban ag program as well. If you are funded for Farm to School, you are not excluded from also applying for urban grant through urban ag or any of our other grant programs. So you can apply and be awarded grants through multiple of our programs. Applying for one does not exclude you from other opportunities. Then we are also working with a partnership with the CDE for funding with the schools. And there is $100 million allocated for California for this program. And the schools basically are just opting in if they're interested. So make sure you get the word out to your local school districts that this opportunity is coming out. It's money for them to procure from local producers. So once you guys have those established relationships with them, school districts should be looking for meeting with more producers locally and receiving funds to buy local. And minimum awards are going to be $50,000. So that's just a minimum. So it could be anywhere from $50,000 and up. And that's money for those schools to procure local.
Michael, just to clarify, CDE is California Department of Education?
Yes, sorry, thank you for that.
So for the participants, that's huge. So California Department of Education is being awarded a grant to be able to support the purchasing of your products as a farmer and rancher. And so as you're connecting with school districts and you're developing these relationships, there's school districts out there that may not know that this grant this grant is available. And so you may be the first that is engaging the school district as a producer for that direct market. And but at the same time, you're also creating awareness that there's a grant so that they can purchase that product from you. So an amazing opportunity. It's putting it out there for you as you continue to build your network with your school districts.
Yes, and there was a question in the chat that I just saw come into, and it was about private schools. And not at this time, it's for public schools and directly funded charter schools. And then also through the USDA, there's two programs that are happening right now currently as well, and through the school districts as well. And it's a local food for schools cooperative agreement program and a local food purchase assistance cooperative agreement program. I know for the first one for LFS, California has $23 million available for local food for schools. And then similarly, the LFPA grant through the SDA, they're also receiving more funds through that they can use to procure locally as well. So really the big thing is just to inform you guys that there is a lot of money being pushed in the direction for helping connect producers to schools and helping schools buy from local producers and help build up their local communities. So just making sure that you guys are aware of these opportunities coming forward and also can help get the word out to your local school districts as well, that these are ways in which you guys can work together. And then, yeah, if there's any more questions, I'm happy to answer whatever may come up in the next few minutes. Also, here's the link to our web page, as well as our main office email, as well as my personal email. And I can put that in the chat as well.
And for those, take a look at the chat. There's a lot of different resources that have been put on there. I know those that are joining on the phone, you're not able to see that. Carmen Carrasco with the Equity Office there at California Department of Food and Agriculture shared that the Community Alliance with Family Farmers also has an active grant. And so I know that many of the participants that are here, you joined in because there's a grant opportunity, but you may not be working directly with the school district. You may be working with an elderly community or another partner stakeholder. So we're dropping a couple of other grant opportunities into the chat just for your awareness and for your support.
Yes, and even if you're not interested in the grants, but need support in other avenues, feel free to reach out, and we're happy to help connect you to folks or help you find space in which you can feel comfortable and where you feel like your program or your farm or wherever you're at fits into this food system. So I'm happy to provide that support and help make connections where needed.
Ilara just dropped in the chat. The Small Business Administration partner is here to assist you as well. Their subsidiary organizations or SCORE mentors, the Central California Small Business Development Centers with the regional network. There's a link there to connect to those specific organizations. Also the Northern California Veteran Business Outreach Center, and the Mission Community Services with Women's Business Centers with Mission Community Service Corporation. Those are also some excellent resources that are out there to support you, whether it's developing your plan or developing that relationship with other partners in your community that are supporting you to be able to contract with your local school districts. Those are all great opportunities, and these are partners that at some point when the time is right for you, you'll want to be connecting with them. These are resources that are available for you as a farmer. And once again, if you're a farmer, you're a business owner. You're a business owner, you're an entrepreneur. So if you see workshops that are tailored for business owners or entrepreneurs, they're talking about you as well. Those are excellent resources, especially if you're just getting started as a beginning farmer, a new and aspiring farmer. The largest barrier for farmers and ranchers, even well-established farmers, is business acumen, lack of business acumen, right? Business acumen will support you with the access to capital. And once you access the capital, that's going to facilitate with you being able to get the access to the land and access to the markets. Today, we've been talking to Michael Ackley Grady, program manager with the California Department of Food and Agriculture, Farm to School, direct marketing programs. Michael, is there anything else that the participants should be aware of before we end today's call?
I think the biggest thing is just making sure you guys know we're here as a resource and utilize us for whatever. Feel free to reach out with any questions. We are a small team of 4, but happy to help where we can. And we are real people. So yeah.
And for the participants today, just want, a lot of our offices, we are small teams, but it's a community of partners from business resources, agricultural resources, and educational resources. All of our services complement one another. And that's what we say, you see a lot of the different service providers here, connect with them. If you're a farmer or rancher, connect with these partners when the time is right for you. All of our services complement one another, and we're a community of partners. So we're all talking to each other and looking to extend the word and the knowledge of all these programs that are available to you. I see Thomas Gibbs got his hand up. Thomas?
Thomas, you're muted.
Oh, hi, Michael. I was just wondering if we would be provided, if, say, for instance, if we didn't get the grant this year, if there's a feedback or anything that will provide us with information on how we can make our application stronger for the next round?
Yes, that is a great question. And yes, like I said, how I talked about how we are real people. A lot of me and my coworkers have worked in the nonprofit space before and been the people actually applying for these grants in the past. So yes, after the grant period, we will provide feedback on how you can better your application for next time if you are not awarded. And then, yeah, we really do hope people take that feedback with them and utilize it for next year's funding. And then if you also would like to schedule a call or something to discuss that as well, following that, happy to do so as well. Like I said, you do not have to be one of our grantees for us to provide support to you. So even if you are not awarded a grant, we will still happily provide all the same assistance you would for our grantees for you as well, and help you make those connections and everything.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So we're about getting to the top of the hour. Sam.
Yep. Sam, you're muted too. Yeah, thank you.
Hey, if anyone would like to talk to me about some different things, I'd make myself available to answer any general farm questions. Like Mr. George was asking about those weeds. I'll be happy to give him my 2 cents if he's interested. So
what's my email is on the chat room. My email is there and that of my wife. So if
I'm not much on emailing you. You got to catch me on the fly. You can reach me at my phone number 760-861.
1 minute, sir.
64.
76.
Yeah,
Is it a 209?
Sam, go ahead and repeat your phone number.
My number 760-861-1234. 1664.
1664. Okay.
Yeah. 'Cause when I finish this call, I'm going right back to the field to get to work. So
And Sam, where do you farm at?
today I'm in Blythe.
Okay.
I'm a date farmer.
Okay.
Yeah, for those that don't know Sam, Sam was previously a district conservationist with the Natural Resource Conservation Service. So he's now 100% farmer, but yeah, very knowledgeable with the programs and an excellent resource for anyone on this call.
Provided the programs have not changed. So I think you're the man now, Victor.
Write that number down.
Thank you.
Sam, please, don't mind me. I'm a slow person. Can you give me that number again?
Sure. Are you ready?
Please, can you give me a pen? Oh,
I have the number.
okay, thank you.
Can he type it in the chat? Can he type it in the chat? I'm driving, so I can't.